Greetings, family, and welcome to you all. Happy Thursday, and hope you are having a wonderful day out there. I am your host, Rob Mccray, for the Business Building Network, welcoming you to another edition of The Come Up, the Rise of the Entrepreneurs. So, this evening, we're going to have a wonderful program in store for you guys as we have a great speaker that's going to come out before us and share some of the very impactful things that he's doing within his community and abroad. And he is just one that is, a true blessing to the community, to the people abroad across many nations. He is out of Canada, but once you hear his story and some of the things that you're doing, I'm sure that you're going to be very inspired and encouraged by what he is doing and want to be a part of his movement and his initiative of what he is pushing. So we're going to bring him out in just 1 second. But before we do that, I just want to share a little bit of information about him. And he is none other than Jeff Martin. And like I said, he's out of Canada. He is a husband of over 13 years, and he has 3 sons. He is a soul-stirring, thought-provoking, highly requested transformational speaker who has been using his platform to inspire people from all across the world. So much of Jeff's love for people can be attributed to his years and involvement as a community advocate, as a mentor, and also with his 15 plus years of experience in law enforcement. He is a youth communication specialist with over 1,000 forensic interviews with children. Jeff is also an author of 2 critically acclaimed books. The City of Toronto's best-selling children's book, which is titled Brothers from the Six and Sisters from the Six. He has also role models in my community. And his newest edition is an Amazon best-selling personal development book, which is titled New Me. And that features an unprecedented 10 different authors in that book. So we're going to be talking about that in just a few minutes. So Jeff is also an award-winning professional speaker. He's a certified coach at the University of Guelph, certified leadership professional, a Harvard University certificate recipient for public speaking, and the curator of Inspire Legacy Company Online Academy, where he teaches the art of public speaking, where I'm sure many of you will be interested in, and student character development. So without further ado, let's bring on the man of the hour. He is none other than Mr. Jeff Martin.
My man, Rob, what's going on, man?
Oh, brother, how are you, sir? How is everything?
Everything is great, man. Thank you for reading that bio. Sometimes, we go so fast that I don't really get a chance to listen and to take in some of the things I've accomplished. I'm definitely honored to have done everything I've done, and I use it all really just trying to help our community to grow. So thank you again for having me on, man.
It is truly a pleasure, and I'm really, really looking forward to this. So much so, yes.
Oh, man, let's go. Let's have some fun today.
Yeah, let's get into it. So let's give a couple of shout outs. A couple of people jumped on board. I have my brother Eric Young from Integrity Cleaning Services.
What's up, Eric?
We also have my brother Philip Reed. What's up, brother? How are you, sir?
Mr.
Thanks
Reed.
for joining us here on the Come Up with our special guest, Mr. Jeff Martin. So, as we normally do when we first get started, we want to introduce you, but we also want you to tell our listening audience a little bit more about yourself. So if you will, take us back to your early childhood days and tell us what it was like for you growing up, where you were born and raised, and what your family structure was like.
Absolutely, yeah. So I was born and raised in Toronto, in Canada, And I know that kind of throws some people off because some people are like, there's Black people in Canada. Absolutely.
Right.
We have a huge, amazing community. A lot of people have a Caribbean background, African background as well. But yeah, a huge Black community within Canada, specifically within the Toronto area. And I grew up in a really tough neighborhood. The neighborhood I grew up in, there's a lot of guns, a lot of violence, a lot of drugs, gangs, things like that in that nature. However, because I was able to be raised with both parents, both mother and father, who are still alive and still together to this day, they have played, of course, such an integral part in my life in terms of the direction that I have gone. And I have learned so many lessons in my life, and we'll probably get into some of those as we dig deeper. But it's through adversity, it's through difficulty that I have been through that has put me on this path I am today to, as you talked about, being a two-time author, having the ability to be a motivational speaker, to speak to crowds all over and just really help to change hearts and minds and push communities forward.
Amen. Amen. Yes, that is indeed a blessing, brother. Yes. And we're going to get into that in just a few minutes.
Yeah.
Yes. Greetings to my sister, Mrs. Minister Haynes. Good evening, sis. Glad to have you with us. Also, blessings and greetings to you, Sister Millie. Glad to have you on board with us as well. So, yes, my brother. So now, before we get into what you do as an entrepreneur, an author, and all that good stuff,
yeah,
a little bit about your current profession.
Yeah, so outside of being an entrepreneur, I've been working in law enforcement for the last 15 plus years. And, I got hired, of course, some years ago. And along my journey of working within law enforcement, I've had an opportunity to, again, just kind of help people in the path that they've been in. But I got to tell you, for me, as I talked about earlier, growing up in a tough neighborhood, I always recognized that every time the police came around, it always felt like we were being harassed. It always felt like we were being picked on, the young Black kids, these police, coming along. And I said to myself, where everybody was like, I hate the police. I said to myself, what if somebody could actually use the power that these guys had, but use it for good? Like, what if somebody was able to take that ability and actually help the community to grow, help the young men and young women within that community? And that's something that stuck with me. And so years later, I pushed forward and eventually walked into that position. I shouldn't even say walk into it. I fought my way in because I had to apply a number of times. It wasn't easy for me. But I got to say this, Rob, another experience that I had that helped me in that area is I truly believe that representation matters. When you could see somebody doing something that looks like you, that sounds like you, they're from your neighborhood, you can relate to them. You can now visualize yourself doing it. And that's one of the things that I do for a lot of the kids that I mentor. I show them examples of people doing great things. So years ago, I was driving down the highway, I had my dad's car. I probably just got my license. And as I'm driving down the highway, I get pulled over. I see the lights behind me. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Here we go. Right. Because again, as a kid, I'm thinking harassment because every time I saw police, that's what it was. So I assumed here come the harassment. But now I'm sitting behind the wheel. And so I look into the rear view mirror to see, who's coming out of that police car. And I see a Black man step out of that car. And that threw me because at that time, I had never seen a Black police officer, not once at that point in time in my life. Okay. And he walked towards the car. And like I said, a lot of people in Toronto have a Caribbean background, right? Including myself. My parents are from Jamaica. Okay. And he walked up to the car and he said, "Brethren, why are you driving so fast?" And I was like, pardon me? Excuse me? Like, it threw me for a loop because here he was talking in a way that I understood, right? I mean, like street slang that I got. And I'm like, are you allowed to talk like that? You know what I mean? And then we kind of chopped it up for a half minute. And he's like, yo, slow down, man. And I'm like, yo, slow down? Like, you're in uniform. Are you even allowed? You know what I'm saying? And he was walking away and I actually called him back. And I started to ask him questions about the job and what he liked about it and things like that. And it was those experiences for me that led me down the path that I still walk to this day. I don't know who that guy is. I don't know his name. I even if I saw him today, I don't think I'd recognize him. It's been so long. But it's because of his representation why I do what I do. It's at least why I do some of what I do. And so representation matters. We need our children to be able to see themselves as doctors, as lawyers, as millionaires, as inventors, as whatever it is, because that's what's going to have them opening up their minds to see past the negativity that we sometimes hear in our music, to see past the negativity that we see outside our doorsteps. If you're living in a tough neighborhood, that's all they're going to see. But when we can open their minds to see greater, to see more, it changes the world. It really does. And that's what it did for me.
It definitely does. So from that brief interaction with that brother, that made you feel like you wanted to get involved more with law enforcement?
Well, it was a combination of the two, of growing up and my thoughts growing up. And then with that was almost like the cherry on top. You know what I'm saying? It allowed me to see that, I can be myself while wearing that uniform. And if I can be myself, then at least I don't have to toe a line, so to speak. I'm able to speak and communicate. I can do the things that Jeff wants to do still while wearing that uniform, and use that influence for positivity to make change that I wanted to make.
Awesome. All right, so let's get like a little background and a layout of what Toronto really looks like.
Absolutely.
So about what percentage would you say is African American?
So if I remember correctly, the percentage is about 8% Black, about 8% of the population. Okay. Now, the sad thing is very similar to the United States. Our percentage is 8%. However, our numbers are a lot greater when it comes to us in the jail system. Our numbers are a lot greater when it comes to us falling out of school, dropping out of school, failing. When it comes to us not going to university or college, the numbers are greater in terms of, going to college, university, the numbers are less. Our 8% doesn't represent all these other areas. We are overpopulated in the prison system. We are overpopulated when it comes to getting kicked out of school. And so we have a lot of issues that, unfortunately the U.S. have as well. And we're continuing. There's a great number of people who are fighting and continuing to try to even the playing field, to make things better, and again, open the eyes to some of our young people.
Gotcha. All right. So now, as a Black man within law enforcement, so do you make it a priority for you to start and build better relationships within the youth within your community, especially in dealing with, all of the racial injustices that we have been witnessing over the years? So do you make it a priority for you to reach out to people within your community?
Absolutely, 100%. And I got to say this, Rob, I said it already that I wanted to become a police officer so I can use that power to help to make change. Right. But as I grew, as I matured, as I recognized that, as being an author, as being a speaker, as being someone who's been able to influence people's minds through my voice, I've realized that it's more than just that police uniform. Like all of us, no matter what position you have, you can influence, you can make change. And so, yes, I definitely do use my influence as an officer to try to reach out to communities. But I recognized some time ago that it's bigger than just the uniform. It's the fact that I decided that I want to make change, whether I'm wearing that uniform or not. And, anytime I go out to speak publicly, I'm never wearing the uniform anyway. It's Jeff speaking. It's me sharing my stories. It's me showing, my vulnerability and the things I've been through to help other people. So it's always about trying to push our community to become better, trying to open the eyes of our young people, regardless if I have the uniform on or not.
Awesome. All right. So let's dig a little deeper into Jeff Martin.
Let's do it.
Now, before I pose this question to you, I'm going to pose it to our listening audience as well. So, guys, I want you to type in the comment section, what is your true purpose in life? Or why are you here? Why do you think you were placed here? We all have gifts and talents, and we also have a purpose. So what do you believe that your purpose in life is? So I want you to put that in the comments below. And I'm going to pose that same question to you, Jeff. So what is your main purpose in life?
So to answer that question, I had to ask myself a lot of personal questions. There was a lot of self-reflection that took place. And I think anybody who's looking to find their purpose, looking to redefine their purpose, there's questions you have to ask yourself. And there's 3 questions I ask myself every single day, no matter if I feel super confident or super low. The questions are, who am I?
Yep.
What do I want?
Yes.
And what's my purpose?
Okay.
And when I can ask myself those three things, it really defines who I am. It defines what I want in this world, and it defines my purpose. And of course, it changes all the time as you mature, as you have children, as you perhaps get married, you might go through a divorce, whatever situation you might be going through in life, it will change for you. But asking yourself those questions will bring serious clarity to your life. Right now, when I ask myself, what is my purpose? I know that my purpose is to help to make change in the lives of people. My purpose is to open the eyes of individuals to help them recognize that they can achieve so much more than they thought they could. And I believe that's my purpose right now. So everything I do, from speaking to being an author, to being an entrepreneur, to even policing, everything I do is geared towards that, because I believe that's why, that's at least one of the reasons I believe I was put on this earth.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. All right. So who is Jeff Martin?
Man, who is Jeff Martin? I am somebody who, as I said, wants to make change in the lives of people. I'm a proud father of 3 kids, and you might be able to hear the background noise. They're running up and down above me. Yeah. I am a proud husband of a beautiful woman, a beautiful queen of the last 13 years. And again, I am a community advocate, someone who's looking to make change in the minds and the hearts of people. And I'm a lover and believer of God, and believe that I believe that it's through his will I'm able to do the things that I'm doing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. All right. So let's dig into your book now a little bit. The book that you have out. You have a copy on you?
I do. Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Brought out your screen.
Absolutely.
So that is titled New Me.
New Me. Absolutely. So you see there's 10 of us on the back of the book, 10 brothers. And the whole idea is really just to show individuals that we were able to get through difficulties. We talk about, all of us share one story each in each chapter. And we talk about how we fell down, but more importantly, how we were able to get back up. We all know what success looks like. Like, you want to see success, turn on the TV, you see Beyonce, you see Jay-Z, you see Kendrick Lamar, you see Kevin Hart. But what we want to know is, what does the failure piece look like? Because we never see that with anybody, even ourselves. Like social media, I post my wins. You know, I don't post when me and my wife are fighting. I don't post the dirty dishes in my sink or my bed when I forgot to make it up. Like, we don't post that stuff. But we need to learn from people how they fell down and then how they were able to get back up, because it's through getting up how we're able to persevere. It's through getting up how we're able to conquer the things that we're going through and improve our lives and the lives of people around us. So that's exactly what this book is about, just really trying to help individuals to strive, to grow, and to become the best version of who they can become.
Awesome. 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 All right. So yes, family, in the comment section on our YouTube page and also on the Facebook page, we left a link so you can go on and grab yourself a copy of the book, New Me. It is an Amazon bestseller. So this brother is really out there doing his thing, along with his 9 other co-authors.
Absolutely.
Brother, what inspired you to, create a book like this with 9 other authors? I don't think that's ever been done, has it?
I know there's some other anthology books out there. People have come together. We wanted to do this because, I wanted to do this because I am the creator of the book. And I wanted to do this because I was out there speaking. I was out there doing some work in the community. And I saw some other guys doing work as well. And I thought, I can probably make a bigger impact. We could probably make a bigger impact if we kind of came together and did a project. And I was thinking, what would be the best way? Do we do like a seminar? Do we do, what is it that we can do? And like all my ideas at 4 a.m. when I get up to use the washer, you know what I'm saying? It came to me. All my ideas, that's when they come to me. Like when I'm half asleep, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's when it came to me. I talked to my wife about it, prayed about it. Is this the right direction to go? And, all arrows pointed to yes. And I said, okay, let's go. And so from there now was like trying to figure out who were the best guys to get to put into this book. And it was important for me to hit up guys who were already working in the community. I didn't want anybody to try to gain a celebrity off of this book, so to speak, or try to gain monetary value based on the book only. I wanted guys who were already working, already active in the community and doing great work. And so I went looking for guys who were doing exactly that. And it's through that I was able to say, okay, these were the 9 other guys plus myself who were going to put this book together.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and the one thing that I did notice about the 9 other brothers that are co-authors on this book, like you said, they are all very active within the community. They're doing something with the kids, the young adults, but they're all in some type of way doing something very positive and impactful within the community.
And that's what's important for me. Again, it's not about the accolades of having, yourself on the book. Some of these guys, they already had books. Some of these guys, it's their very first book. So now they're published authors. And I wasn't here just to hand out that title. My whole thought process was to really hone in on putting our stories in, bringing out your vulnerability, because we know as men, as Black men, we don't want to talk about the trauma that we've been through. We don't want to talk about the issues that we've gone through and going through in life. And I made these men, really buckle down and spill the beans on some of the most difficult and embarrassing things they've had to go through. Because, and they did it because they recognized the value in it. They did it because they recognized that someone on the other side of the book who will be reading it will be healed, will be blessed, will have their life changed because they were able to step through and share their difficult story.
Amen. So Tina Thomas, one of my great supporters, she's with the Loving Arms Foundation. She does a great works in her community as well, going out to feed and looking to also shelter the homeless and less fortunate.
Love it, Tina.
What community you servicing? Tina, he's out of Toronto, Canada. So yes, Jeff Martin out of Toronto, Canada.
Absolutely. But doesn't mean we can't try to do something international. So I'm always open to teaming up if possible, for sure.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. All right. So tell us now, how did you make a lot of these connections with a lot of these guys?
Well, again, it was just really looking in the community to see who was working, who was connecting to people in very different ways. And it's funny because if you go on social media, I talked about it earlier, people share their wins. People will share things going on in their life that sometimes aren't true, right? We've seen some celebrities get caught talking about, I'm going on my jet, right? Meanwhile, you see the shadow of someone sitting behind them, right? Like there's always people who are fronting, pretending, right? And so it was important for me to really dig deep, not just see what somebody was doing on social media, but see what they were doing in real life. And so for some of these guys, I really dug to see like, what were they up to? Kind of did some detective work, so to speak, behind their backs, trying to figure out, like, are these guys the men who they say that they are? And that was important for me. Are you who you say you are? You say you are a leader. You say you are someone who wants to change the community in whatever aspect that is. Are you who you say you are? And I made sure that I was able to find men who represented what they said they were, who were able to again, at making change individually, because I want to make change together. The more people you can pull together, the stronger we can go. As the saying says, you can run faster alone, but you can run further together. And that's the whole idea, running further together so we can make further change to build up the community or the generation that's coming before us, and even help out the community who's here now, the generation who's here now.
Absolutely. So and when speaking with a lot of the co-authors, because most of them have come on the Now Talk Show, which is another show that comes on every Monday at 7 p.m. with Dr. Nadine Wong. So I want to encourage you guys to go check that out. You can check out her Facebook page and also her YouTube channel, The Now Talk Show. And every Monday at 7 p.m., she has live interviews with just men that she brings on board. And, they share their experiences and their triumphs as well. But one common theme that I've heard from all of the authors that have partnered up with you on this venture is that, when they gave you their first script of the book, they all said that Jeff was like, nah, brother, you got to dig deeper. You got to come on back and bring it back to me again. So
absolutely.
It was like 2 or 3 times they had to do that before it was actually accepted to be put into the book.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I did the same for myself as well, because, we've all, as men, as Black men, we've sat around that barbershop, right? And
Yep.
I've been blessed to be around a couple different barbershops around the world. I've been to a Black barbershop in the UK. I've been to a Black barbershop, of course, in the US and Canada, in the Caribbean, and they're all the same in the sense of like, we get together and we talk some smack. You know what I'm saying? We talk about sports, we talk about, whatever it is, the topic of the day, right? And it's all a good time. But we mask as men, we mask the situations that we're going through telling these surface stories. We never dig down deep. We never talk about the details of what we've really been through and how the scars oftentimes remain. And then not only that, a lot of men are still bleeding, right? We've been stabbed, we've been hurt, right? Figuratively, and we are still bleeding. And when you are bleeding and you're raising children, or you are a community leader, or you are a spouse, you are bleeding all over everybody because you haven't had a chance to heal.
That's right.
And so it was important for me to have these guys dig deep about their story, because we can all tell surface stories. If you want to hear surface stories, go to the barbershop. You know what I'm saying? But if we want to dig deep, right? But if we want to dig deep, we need to dig deeper, so we can expose some of the things that we've been through and then talk about how we healed from them. Because I think when we as men are alone with our own thoughts, it can be dangerous at times. You know what I'm saying? And because we don't share, sitting there quietly reading a book, you can allow your vulnerability to come out. If I'm sitting in a group of a bunch of men and we're talking about basketball, I'll never talk about how I might have been sexually assaulted as a child, or how I was, robbed and whatever as a child, or whatever you might have gone through. But when you're sitting alone with a book and you're reading about men who've been through some of these things, you're not able to say, okay, they've been through it. I've been through it. They healed. I can heal as well.
Awesome. Love it, brother. Love it. Yes. Very good. Very good. Love that. Yes. We got Deacon Triumphant. He's joined us as well. And this brother is going to be on with us next week. So make sure you tune in next Thursday. You will hear Deacon Triumphant. He has his music business. He's a DJ. So he's going to be, sharing some classics with us. So make sure you tune in next Thursday for that. All right. So Jeff, let me ask you now. So what really inspired you to become an author?
Yeah. So before I answer that, I want to say shout out to Nick Barham. I saw him jump on. He is one of the authors as well of this book. Love you, Nick. Much appreciated. What made me want to become an author? It really is just a part of who I am. Again, the service piece. So even before writing the New Me book, as you talked about earlier, I wrote this children's book, and it's called Brothers from the Six, Sisters from the Six, Role Models in My Community. And it's very Toronto based. The whole idea is to show our children positive Black role models that are from our city. Because when you ask these kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? They say, I want to be the next LeBron James or Steph Curry. And we all know, I don't know if my basketball skills are to par. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if anybody else is, but most of us will never get there. But there's doctors and lawyers and entrepreneurs and people like yourselves who are doing amazing stuff. And so I had some of them illustrated that live are from the Toronto area who are doing amazing things. And so, yes, I wanted to create this book to help our community. And so your question, why did I want to become an author? I wanted to become an author because I know not everybody's going to hear me speak. I can't be in every school as much as I would love to, but perhaps my children's book can be there before I get there. I was blessed enough. I received a message on Messenger a week and a half ago from somebody in the country of Nepal, and he's like, Jeff, he's like, Jeff, what's going on? I'm like, nothing. I thought maybe it was like a new way telemarketer. You know what I'm saying? Like, they want to clean my duct cleaning or something like that. I don't know. And he's like, yeah, I'm out of Nepal, and I'd love to have you on my podcast. I'm like, say what? And I heard about Nepal, but I had to kind of Google it to make sure. And it's between China and India. You know what I'm saying? And and so we had to time it. It was like 9 p.m. our time, 11 a.m. their time. It was like Saturday for me, Sunday for them. And we were able to put it through. And it was amazing to me. I'm super blessed with those opportunities. And again, opportunities like this, because again, you're across the border, you're in Jersey, I'm in Canada. And I'm blessed with these opportunities because, again, I know I can't speak in every school. Not everyone's going to hear my voice. Not everybody's on social media where I do videos as well. But perhaps my book can get into that space. Perhaps, I used to do a podcast. Perhaps that can get in their space. The whole idea is really, again, just to share ideas through different methods to allow people who might be into that platform to hear it and perhaps change their life. And so that's why I wanted to be an author. That's why I want to jump in every area because, I'm really just trying to be a part of the change.
Man, that's wonderful, brother. I really, really love that. So tell us a little bit about what the brothers and the sisters from the Six, what are those books about?
Yeah, so as I said, it's just really shows some of the Black folks who are doing amazing things within the Toronto area. For example, we have a Judge Donald McLeod, who grew up in one of the tough neighborhoods within the Toronto area, became an amazing lawyer, and then was able to make himself push himself into the area where he was chosen as a judge. Okay. We have in the book where we also have Jean Augustine. Jean Augustine was a politician. She is responsible for having Black History Month in Canada. Really? So Black History Month in Canada officially started in 1995, or it was declared in 95 for February of 1996. Get out of here. Yeah, so it's not that long ago. And she was the one that brought it to the Prime Minister of Canada at that time. And she was the one that was able to bring it, and it got passed. And that's why we have Black History Month in Canada. And she is illustrated in the book because, again, I want children to know, like, this is a part of our history, number one. And number two, you can do amazing things like her as well as a politician. There's a chef that's illustrated in here. There's police officers, there's doctors, lawyers, veterinarians. Again, just, jobs that children often say they want to do, police officer, firefighter, but the representatives of people who are doing those jobs right here in our city, so they can see, oh, there's somebody real who's doing that job. I can strive to be just like them or better than them. Okay, awesome. Yeah. All right. So now, did you have like any special training or mentorship to become an author? I just went all in. I didn't know anything about it, but I did my research. And that's what I typically like to do when I'm stepping into an area I don't know. I go on YouTube University. That's what I call it when I'm, looking up some stuff. Yeah. I spent a lot of time in some of the major bookstores, just really like studying the children's books. It's the same thing for public speaking. I just studied the art and really understood what was out there, what the trend was, what was popular, what wasn't, and then tried to see if I can create my own niche within that area. So yeah, I had zero training as an author, but I was able to learn from some of the best. I was also mentored by some of the best as well that have helped me along my way. And then, I'm so blessed now to help people because I have 2 books out. I have had so many phone calls asking, Jeff, how do you do a book? How do you write? How do you blah, blah, blah? And so I may just have to create a course on that because I've helped, so many people in that aspect. And I think it's my duty to help. I think it's my duty because I know we all have gifts. We all have the ability to put something amazing into this world. And if I can be part of that catalyst for somebody, then I'm so honored to do so. Yes, brother, that is a part of your calling. Yes. So yeah, absolutely. If we're here to serve and we're here to help, then I'm looking to do so any way I can. Awesome. Greetings, Pastor Stephanie. Glad to have you with us here. Thank you for joining us. So yeah, so tell me, like, who are some of the authors that you admire? So I gotta say, it's changed over time. There was a time when I was in maybe my early 20s that I was big on like Eric Jerome Dickey. You know what I'm saying? Like Eric Jerome Dickey, huge author. He writes, almost romance type. You know what I'm saying? Romance. I was kind of into some of that early on. But what I did love about his work is that the way he was able to write, he brought stories to life. And I remember at that time, I was reading one of his books and he was talking about New York City. And then I went to go visit my aunt in New York and it felt like I was already there. That was my very first time going, but it felt like I was already there because he was able to bring the words to life. And, from that, I was like, ooh, I love the skill of writing because if you can write in a way that the words jump off a page and someone can envision themselves there, then you're already there, right? You're it's almost like half the battle is won, so to speak. And so that's definitely one of the authors that really has inspired me. And in terms of like the personal development stuff, the New Me book, and I'm working on another book right now, it just really being in this space of helping people to become the best version of them is really pushing me to say, okay, how can I create something else to, again, help somebody in a different platform? Because again, this New Me book, as far as I know, it's been out to Brazil, it's been out to Germany. And these are places that I may never go to. However, if my words and my story can get there before me, then I know that I'm helping and I'm blessing somebody out that way before I get a chance to even put my feet to that soil. So, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to go down this route.
Awesome. Love it, brother. Love it.
Appreciate it, brother.
Favorite book?
Ooh, my favorite book. I would say right now, my favorite book is, my favorite speaker is Lisa Nichols. Lisa Nichols has a book called No Matter What. And when I first heard some of her talks on YouTube and she blew me away. And I had to pick up her book. And I picked up the book. I listened to the audio version first. And I was like, mind blown. And whenever I listen to it, I listen to a lot of audiobooks. And when I listen to the audiobook, if it like blows my mind, then I have to buy the tangible book. And so I bought the tangible book for myself. I bought it for my sister. I ended up buying for a number of different people. In fact, I just mailed a copy off to a cousin of mine in England. And, you know, the book has just changed my heart, my mind, and my soul. And so, yeah, Lisa Nichols for me is a distant mentor, someone who I look up to, who's been amazing as an author and as a speaker.
All right, spell her name for me.
Lisa, Lisa. Nichols is Nichols.
One L?
One L. Look her up, man. She's fire. She's
I'm definitely gonna do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what is it? Personal development?
Yeah, personal development. Yeah, that's exactly what she's speaking about. She's talking about her story, what she's been through, how she raised a single child on her own, how I believe it was her husband at the time, or her husband to be, had gone to jail. And yeah, she just really tells a compelling story. And just at the end of the day, it's all about, like we're trying to do a New Me. You know, this is how I fell down, but this is how I was able to get back up. And again, it's always about how I get back up, because we fall down all the time. And, you know, if you can get up and improve in that circumstance, then that's what's going to push you to become better. Whether you are trying to make that money, whether you are trying to open that business, whether you are coming out of a failed marriage, whether you have these kids that just, you know, are acting up, whatever it is, like we all have situations in life where we fall down. But what are you doing to get back up? And then when you do get back up, how do you improve? How do you go forward? How do you make yourself better? Those are the stories we need to hear. It's the success stories in that aspect that we need to hear. I don't need to see some celebrity, you know, making it rain. I want to learn.
For me.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't need to learn how to make it rain. I want to learn when you fell down, when you had a death in your family and it paralyzed you. When you went bankrupt, like, how did you get out of it? These are the stories I want to hear, because as I go along my journey, I'm going to have things I fall down in. And at least I can learn from somebody else's mistakes and create, you know, the life I want for myself.
There you go. So were you a big reader as a kid?
Yeah, I would say I was a big reader as a kid. I read all different type of books, just kind of really, you know, getting an idea about life, learning about different people and different things through reading. And, you know, that's something that I really encourage my kids to do. My 11-year-old at like 3 a.m, like I'll get up to use the washroom and I see the light on in his room. I'll go check on him and my man is reading. You know what I'm saying? Like he's reading. So I'm like, woo, like I created one. You know what I'm saying? You know, because we know statistics show that boys, and Black boys in particular, when it comes to reading, they fall off quite a bit. Right. Statistics have shown that, education has shown that. And so, you know, if we can engage our children to continue reading, then it really can change their life. Again, it can raise their literacy level. But not only that, the things that they can read can open up their minds to areas that they never thought they can be in, because the words can jump off the page like it did for me. And that's so important, because not everybody can travel. Not everybody has the ability to buy a plane ticket and to go see Brazil and go see Jamaica. but you can read about it. And when you read about it, like Eric Jerome Dickey's book did for me, you can visualize yourself there, right? It's like you're there. And now you can see yourselves doing things in real life that you never thought you can do. Reading can open so many doors.
Yes, it can. It really can.
Were you a big reader?
No,
or are you a big reader?
I used to hate reading.
Okay.
It was something that I had to, discipline myself to start doing. Once I did, then like you said, it started to open up so many more doors. I started to expand my mind and, my vision and just, things would just present themselves where I couldn't see them before.
Yeah.
But now that, I was taking the time out to educate myself, to self-develop myself, just by reading and listening to audiobooks, like you said, it just opened up a totally different life. And, it really was a transformation for me. So yeah, that is something that people in general, we need to really incorporate and start reading more. Even if you don't take the time out to read, get the audiobooks and you just go. Very powerful, very powerful.
Oh yeah, if you take on the responsibility of reading or educating yourself, you can get that degree without having the paper, right?
Yep.
You can become so proficient in whatever area it is you want to be. And now, of course, certain jobs you do need a degree. I don't want anybody, doing surgery on me if they don't have their degree. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you touching me, right? Right. But there's so many other areas that, you can learn on your own. Again, public speaking for me, there are, certified speakers out there, and kudos to them. But some of the greatest speakers I've heard have never been certified. It's about putting yourself, like entrenching yourself in the craft that you want to learn about and going forward and just learning. So yeah, reading is, as they say, reading is fundamental.
There it is.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's take a look at some of your training programs that you have.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So let me just broaden the screen a little bit. All right, so this is Inspire Legacy Online Community. So there are a couple of courses in here, correct?
There are, yeah. So one of the courses I have is a student learning course to build character, to build student development, a curriculum. And again, geared towards students, high school students. And, that one there, just really trying to help our community to flourish. A lot of kids are struggling in a lot of different areas. And so I speak about things in terms of leadership, in terms of vulnerability, in terms of overcoming fear, in terms of understanding that you have leadership within you. And this specific course is targeted for students. Okay. And the second course I do have in there is a speaking course, a public speaking course. And that's, really to help people to find their voice and then mold their story in a way that people are going to be sitting at the edge of their seats. Because there's nothing better than a great story. We grew up on stories, Little Red Riding Hood and Three Little Pigs. And, we grew up on like, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen to that third pig? You know what I'm saying? Like we were all up in it. We grew up on stories. Our ancestry, everything we know has come from stories. And so when you could tell a great story, you can really change people's hearts and minds. And so it's through this course that I share some of the things that have been successful to me, because I've had a ton of failures with public speaking, but because I've been doing it so long, I found a lot of success as well. I share the successful pieces so people don't have to stumble along the way as many times as I did. And, I really get deep as well in terms of breaking down some of the early, like the Greek, some of the early speaking pieces to help to create your story into that story that's going to be like jaw-dropping, earth-shattering. Again, that's really going to help to change somebody's life. So that's what that course is about.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, guys, so I'm leaving the links for these different courses in the comments section. So you can just go to the comments, click on those links or copy and paste them and check them out. These are some great, phenomenal courses that Jeff has put together, and you can have access to them, just by going to his website and, and inquiring about them. So yeah, I encourage each and every one of you to go ahead and do so and check them out. There's really some great information in there. especially for those of you that want to get into public speaking, or if you want to become an author yourself, this is something that you really need to, immerse yourself into and get that education, get those fundamentals that you need, and reach out to Jeff.
Absolutely.
He's going to be that coach and mentor that you need to help you push and elevate to that next level.
Absolutely. And, also, Rob, I'm looking to start in the new year a community, have weekly calls where we can really dig in on life issues, where we can talk about public speaking, work on our public speaking skills, but also, again, dig into the finance piece, dig into parenting, dig into, being the community leader that we need to be. And it's important, again, for me to share these things because of the success that I have had. I can share a story real quick. I was speaking at a school. I had a contract to speak there for 4 engagements. And at the end of the 4th engagement, there was a young girl who was in the 8th grade. And she came to me and she whispered to me, because the class was still full. She said, Jeff, I've been listening to what you've been talking about. I've been listening about, you saying, your self-worth and that you matter and you have value. And based on what you said, Jeff, and she stopped and she pulled up her sleeve and I could see all the self-inflicted wounds.
Oh, yeah.
And she said, Jeff, because of you, I've decided I'm going to stop self-harming.
Wow.
And I was just totally blown away and taken back, because if I allowed my own problems, we didn't really talk about my story in the book, but if I allowed my own problems to take me out, I would not be here for her and for the other people who I've heard from too. I had another young man who walked in and he had the world on his shoulders, like physically, you could see him slouched over. And he told me that he was sexually assaulted by his stepfather for many years. And we were able to sit and to speak, and I was able to speak life into him. And at the end of it, he said, Jeff, my plan was to come in here and just tell somebody, because I've never told a soul. And then I was going to leave here and take my own life. But because of what, he said, but because of what you said, Jeff, I've recognized now that I need to share my story, because there's somebody else who's going through it now who needs to hear that I've been through it and I've healed from it. And so, those are just a couple of the stories. And that's why it's so important for me to share the gift of public speaking, because I've been able to have that type of impact. And I understand, please, like, if you knew me, who I was, you would know, like, there's no ego here. It's not about the ego. I understand what my gift is. I understand one of my gifts anyway. I understand what it is, and I'm walking within it. I'm walking in my purpose. And I recognize that it's bigger than me. It's not about me. It's bigger. It's bigger than me. Never is. It's bigger than me. And so I share my course. I share it because there's so many people who have gone through situations. And the truth is, no one really cares what you've been through. But as I talked about earlier, it's how you came out of it. So there's people who have been sexually assaulted. There's people who have been, robbed, or, whatever difficult story they've been through. But when you have healed from it, and then when you learn to tell it in a way that grabs people's attention, man, you could change lives. Like, you literally can change someone's thinking from, a poverty mindset to millionaire mindset. You can change someone's thinking from a victim mindset to a winning mindset based on a story that you tell them and how you tell it. So it's again, it's bigger than me.
Yes. Yeah, so Pastor Stephanie says, wow, truly amazing. Jeff continues to impact lives and help those in silence to rise up and be made free.
Thank you, Pastor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's something that that really stood out to me, what you just said. It's not about us, the individual who's bringing forth the message. Sometimes we just have to get ourselves out the way. It's not about no ego trip. No, it's just about information that's going to help somebody else to transform their lives and get to a better place. So as long as your heart is in that place and you're doing it for that reason, hats off to you. Keep going with it. But if you're just doing it for your own public acclaim, then no, you're doing it for the wrong reason. Do it because you want to help and motivate, inspire, and encourage someone else to do better and be in a better light in their lives. So yeah, man, hats off to you, my brother. Greatly
Appreciate that, man. You're absolutely right. What you said there, the ego is a monster.
It is.
It is a monster, and we all have it. No matter how humble you are, we all have it. It's a part of our DNA. But as you talked about, when you could push it aside and recognize that the power that we all have as human beings is greater than what we believe we need to put out there. When you recognize that you can make the difference and the help in someone's life, then that's what's more important than my ego. So checking your ego is so important. As they say, ego stands for edging God out. When you're edging God out and putting yourself first, edging God out.
Yes, I like that. Okay.
When you're putting yourself first, and you're edging God out, right? It's all about me. It's not about we, and we need to make it more about we.
Nice, like it. All right. So, got a couple more questions for you, brother.
Absolutely.
Your time. All right. So, going to get a little deeper now. So,
let's do it.
Yeah, I know you are one that really likes to influence the world and have a great perspective on life. So what is your vision for humanity? What does the ideal world look like to Jeff Martin?
Ooh, that's a big question. What does the ideal world look like? The ideal world in the perfect scenario, which we know this world, there's so much going on. It is tough. Especially 2020 has exposed so much in so many different ways. That's another 2 or 3 hours if you have it.
Easy. Yeah.
What the perfect world to me would look like is seeing people who see their value and see their worth. And that's what it comes down to for me, for you to see your value and for you to see your worth. Because we live in a situation, in a scenario where oftentimes, based on the images that we see on TV, I don't look like that. Our young women who have my hue, who have my complexion, they don't see themselves represented on TV oftentimes. And so when you see these images that don't look like you, you start to believe that you don't matter. You start to believe that, someone who looks like you does not belong. And we all have to know that we were made to be here. We were created for a reason. We were created for a purpose, and our worth and our value is important.
Yes, sir.
And when you can see your value, when you can see your worth, then you can recognize that there's nothing in this world that you can't do. There's nothing in this world that you cannot accomplish, regardless of where you're from, regardless of the color of the skin, regardless of your gender. You are able to do it once you recognize that you have value.
Yes. Yes.
It's easy for us to get caught up in the mix. Like this year, again, has been so tough in so many ways. You see George Floyd, for example, a black man who is on the ground, who's losing his life. And I saw myself, like I literally saw myself, and I mourned him. I mourned him, and I could see not just myself. I could see my friends. I could see my family. I could see my children. Yes. My sons are 11, 7, and 2 years old. And at some point in time, society will look at them and say they are no longer cute. At some point in time, they're going to be the big, scary black man.
Yep.
And so when I'm seeing these situations, I'm seeing myself, I'm seeing my children, I'm seeing my friends. But we have to know, as difficult as that circumstance was, we have to know that, again, we have so much value that we can bring to this world. We have such a gift that we're able to put out there. And we're able to capitalize on that, to realize that I believe there's generations after us that can build up on our gift.
Yes, sir.
Right? Like there's cell phones now today, because at one point in time, somebody thought about a telephone, somebody thought about a computer. They combined them to now we got a cell phone, right? 20 years from now, 30 years from now, who knows what kind of cell phones they're going to look like, right? They've all been built on each other's ideas. Right, I have an idea. Robbie, you have an idea. We all have ideas and gifts that we can put to this world so someone behind us can build on it. Mm-hmm. So we're all necessary. We all have a reason for being here. And so value and worth, again, is so important when it comes to what my perfect world would look like.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So now, speaking of this crazy year that we're going through.
Yeah.
How has this pandemic affected you, your family, and your business?
So it's been tough in so many ways. I would say though, March, when everything really shut down, things just really went to a halt. It was tough for me because the speaking business just totally stopped.
Yeah.
And I feed off the energy of people. When I'm in a perfect world, when I'm out and speaking to a crowd and I can go out and touch the shoulder of somebody in the audience, I could tell a joke in my speech and, get the reaction. I feed off of that. And not only that, but as a speaker, it's the after conversations, the people who are so touched that they come up to you afterwards and you go deeper. You go deeper. And so that none of that has happened. And so March, April, May, it was like, just totally stopped. And it was difficult for me because now I had to pivot, right? In basketball, you have to pivot, you have to change, right?
Yep.
And so the change has been virtual. And here we are doing this virtual. And so I've been blessed enough to be doing a lot of virtual talks. Of course, it's not the same, right? It's especially when you're talking to a crowd of people. I'm talking to a screen. There's 500 or 200, whatever, on the other side. Right. I can't see smiles. I can't see, the reactions.
Yep.
However, I do know, again, because I know the gift is bigger than me. I know it's not about my ego and wanting to see the reaction. It's about putting the message out.
That's right.
And when I put the message out, it's going to hear the right ears at the right time.
Yep.
I take my role as a speaker seriously because I know that there's somebody who's listening who needs to hear my voice who will never hear it again. And if I don't say the right thing at the right time to that right individual, then that could be the end of their life. They may go out there and take their own lives. They may go out there and pull a gun out on somebody. They may go do something. And I may be the last voice that they ever hear that gives them the reason that they need to keep going.
How about that?
So it's important for me to share my voice and my message, even though we are doing it virtually. So 2020, for a lot of reasons, like you said, has been tough. But in terms of business, it did halt for a while, but now it's starting to move. And I got a lot of getting a lot of phone calls for next year and a few big events and gigs lined up. So it's starting to move. Still virtual though.
Anything in the U.S.?
Yeah, so I just scored something in Illinois. I don't know the details of who it is. But somewhere in Illinois. And then I have another one in January in Greensboro, North Carolina as well. That's a nonprofit organization. I don't have the name in front of me, but those are a couple that I have in the U.S. coming up in the new year.
All right, brother. If you get anything in Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut area, you got to let me know. I'll be there, brother.
Especially if this Corona thing goes away and I can actually make the drive. I will let you know. We'll grab some dinner. We'll hang out. We'll do it up.
That'd be awesome, brother. It really
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, so let me ask you this now. So now we're all here listening to you and your very inspirational stories that you're telling us. So should we take the initiative to write our own personal story?
I found that when I was writing, I felt like it was such a healing that was happening for me because it gave me a chance to put it all on paper. It gave me a chance to really share the dark piece of the things I was going through. Real quick, the same year I got hired as a police officer was the same year I had a cousin who was murdered. And so because I grew up in a tough neighborhood, I learned a lot of tough lessons, including revenge. And I wanted to go out there and get revenge. But the other side of me was a police officer. So here I am, go get revenge, be the person who, stands up and serves. And it was a struggle for me. And at that point, I went to a really dark place in my life because of the pain and hurt. But I was able to turn it around and to use that negative energy into something positive. And so writing it out was really a healing piece for me. It allowed me to really share the deepest and darkest things that I was going through, to the point where my wife, who knew me at the time, who was my girlfriend at that time, and again, we've been married for 13 years. When she read it, she said, I had no idea that you were feeling the way you were feeling, because again, men don't share as much as we should, right? Which is probably a whole nother subject.
Yes.
So I think it's so important that you, as individuals who are listening, write your story. It doesn't have to be a book that it's published, in a bookstore. It's about you getting your ideas out. It's about you sharing. It's about you healing. That's the bigger piece of it. You can put it out as a blog post. You can pull it out as an ebook. You don't have to put it out at all. You can share with your family, whatever it is that you decide to do. But talking through,
it's for you.
It's for you. Absolutely, it's for you. It's a part of your healing. It is. And when you can heal from it, you can heal other people. You can help other people.
Amen.
And so, yeah, that's what it comes down to for me. So, yeah, I think it's a great idea for everybody to write out their own story.
Okay, very good, very good.
How about you? You writing out your story?
Well, I might have to. Yeah, I think I will. I really think I will. Yeah. I'm gonna start doing that.
Yeah, I'm sure you have a lot to say. The fact that you have this platform means that you've been through some stuff that said to you, I need to create a platform. So I'm sure you have some stuff to share.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what are some writing tips that we need to be aware of?
So I think when it comes to writing, you really want to be committed in the sense of, if I'm going to write, I need to write every day or every other day. And even if that means writing out a sentence, if you don't have the time today, I'm going to write a sentence out. Today, I'm going to write a paragraph out, even if it doesn't make sense. Even you write, the big bear, something, even if it's very, silly and juvenile, you're getting your ideas out and you're writing every day. And this helps to develop the discipline and then the writing process as well. Mm-hmm. That's I think is important. That's one tip. Another tip I would say is, don't write to say, okay, I'm going to have 10 chapters. This is chapter 1. This is chapter 2. I would say just write, get the story out there, put the ideas out there. And at some point in time, they'll start to form and they'll start to create their own story the way it should fall. And maybe even get some help from a friend who wants to read it over to say, put this first, put this second. But yeah, I wouldn't say to write as in, I'm going to have 10 chapters. I think just kind of allow it to flow. That's probably the best way to do it. Mm-hmm. And then as well, in terms of when I'm developing chapters, what I'll kind of do is, if the idea is, let's say for argument's sake, the idea is cell phones. That's the main idea. Then I'll write off, to the side, okay, subscribers. I'll write, cell phone numbers. I'll write different ideas that stem off of that main idea. And that helps me to kind of build my chapters together. It helps me to name my chapters as well. And it helps your story to flow a little bit better as well. So those are a few tips I would say when it comes to writing and putting your story on paper.
Okay, very good, very good.
Also, sorry, real quick, I'd say don't delete. Nowadays I'm saying writing. I'm talking about typing here. Don't delete. Right? If there's something you don't like, take it and put it on another page. You may come back to it, you may not, but don't delete, because that idea could feed into something else.
Yeah, true. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, very good. All right, so Jeff, this is going to be my last question for you. So I want you to speak to our audience in responding to this. So what would you say to those individuals that are having an identity crisis and they really haven't found their true self, their true identity? So what would you say to those individuals that are really trying to find themselves?
If you are that individual who is trying to find your true identity, your true self, and you're having issues and struggles trying to figure out who that is, and you've had problems over your life and you just don't know how to hone in on who it is you are, go back to the 3 questions I said. Who am I? What do I want? And what's my purpose? Who am I allows you to define who you are, because the world is trying to tell you who you are. If you are a young Black man, the world's trying to tell you who you are. If you are a young white woman, an old white woman, the world is trying to tell you who you are, and that is not who you are. You are who you say you are.
That's right.
So who am I? What do I want?
Okay.
We don't allow ourselves to want things. We don't give ourselves permission sometimes to want things, because certain people might have been grown in certain areas or in certain circles that we didn't know that we can become. Like, some people don't know you can be a millionaire if you choose to. Like, you don't know you can be an author if you choose to. Because of my culture or my religion, they tell me I can't do certain things. What do you want? Not just what your culture wants. What do you want? And then what's my purpose? What do you believe your purpose is here on earth? And We have to ask ourselves these questions all the time, frequently, every single day. And this helps to bring clarity. And this helps to bring up your value, your self-worth, and understand, again, that you are here for a reason and for a purpose.
Yes, sir.
One of the things I always talk about is, if you go back and look at the how many people live right now, so 7 billion people. Actually, let's go back even further. Of the 108 billion people to have ever lived on this earth, I'm talking about from Adam and Eve all the way to the baby that's being born right now. You have to know that there's never been another you.
Mm-hmm.
There's never been a you before you. And the day that you leave this world, there will never be another you after you. There's been no one put on this earth that has the same fingerprint that you do, that has the same DNA that you have. That's why you have to know that you are rare. You are rare. You are here for a reason and for a purpose. And I guess our job to figure out what that is. Sometimes it takes a lifetime. But when we continue to ask ourselves those questions over and over again, it helps to bring you clarity. Because there's too many of us walking around like zombies, like sheep. We're following along because the school system tells us this is who we have to be. Yes. Because our parents tell us this is who we have to be. Because society tells you this is what you have to be. As a Black man, I was told I was supposed to be a criminal. I was told I was supposed to be dead. I was told I was supposed to sell drugs. Mm-hmm. But here I am. I'm blessed and honored with the opportunity to inspire people all over the world through books, through my speaking, through different methods, all because I've recognized my purpose. And so asking yourself those 3 questions will bring you clarity, the clarity you need to help you walk into your purpose. When you learn to do that, you can change hearts and minds all over this world, all over this planet, because you recognize who you are.
Awesome.
And last thing I want to say as well, you know, the great thing about who we are as individuals is that our mind can do amazing things. Everything out there was created through someone's imagination. Like, consider your favorite song, consider your favorite movie that came from somebody's imagination. And that person is probably making hundreds of thousands, if not millions, based on that idea that came from them. That could be you as well. It's not about making all that money. It's about the fact that you can create something that this world needs. And when we play small, when we allow someone else's opinion to hold us back, it doesn't serve anyone. It certainly doesn't serve you, and it doesn't serve the world. So give yourself an opportunity to walk in that purpose by asking yourself those questions, to bring yourself clarity so you can use your amazing ideas that God gave you to make this world, your family, and your community better.
Yes, sir. Awesome, brother. Awesome. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to mention it, but I'm going to do it now. You also have a clothing apparel, correct?
Yes, sir. Thank you for sharing. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that is... the link is in the comments section, and you can also see it on the screen. The website is inspirelegacycompany.com.
Yes, sir.
Check him out and check out his clothing line that he has over there as well.
Thank you.
Man, you're really doing your thing out there, brother.
I'm doing what I can. I'm trying to walk in that purpose. And again, because I know it's bigger than me, I know that the limited time that I have here, Rob, that I got to put out my gift. The limited time that you have, you got to put out your gift.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I put something out the other day that said, of the history of the world, how long the world has been here, if you look at our lifespan, it is 141 seconds compared to the lifespan of the world. Ooh. That means that we are here and then we're gone.
Yes.
What are we doing with that time? Are we binge watching? Are we catching up on Netflix? Are we scrolling through social media? Or are we putting ourselves in a place where we can create, we can explore, we can invent, we can live in our purpose, and we can change hearts and minds?
Yeah.
That's what I think we all have to do. We are here for 141 seconds.
Yes. Fulfill your purpose.
Fulfill it. You are meant to do so.
Yes. And Tina Thomas says, I love this man.
Thank you, Tina.
Recognizing who you are and inspiring and encouraging others to be the best that we can be.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you, brother. Thank you,
Rob.
Oh, man. Love it, man. Love it. Yeah, this has been more than I anticipated, but yeah, I knew you were going to bring it.
Thank you for the opportunity.
You exceeded expectations, my brother, and God bless you, man, for wonderful things that you're doing and will continue to do throughout your community and throughout the world, my brother. Wish you nothing but much more success.
Thank you.
And look forward to us, actually meeting in person and hugging and embracing and, just.
As soon as those borders open, as soon as they open, I'm coming over.
Yeah. Or I might come up that way, either or. But yeah.
Either or.
It shall be done.
And God bless you for this platform again, for allowing people to come on and share their voice, and again, giving people an opportunity to hear others and what they're doing and what they're about. It's so needed. So thank you for that, Rob.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. So yeah, guys, with that note, just want to encourage you to also subscribe to my YouTube channel. That is Rob Mccray. You can see it scrolling across the bottom of the screen there at the bottom. That's the actual link to my YouTube channel. And I want to give out the link for Jeff's YouTube channel as well. Go check him out and subscribe to his channel. It is Jeff A.D. Martin. Jeff A.D. Martin on YouTube. Just put in the search box. Check out his YouTube channel. Subscribe. Check out some of his videos over there. He is doing some wonderful, wonderful things.
Thank you.
Before we close out, I just want to bring up a couple of your websites as well. Guys, I want to encourage you, go check him out. He has his training courses, mentorship programs. So, he has something there for each and every one of you. All you have to do is reach out to this man, and he will definitely help you get to the right place. All right.
Thank you so much again.
Yes, sir. So, my brother, before we close out, you have any closing words you want to state?
Again, I just want to reiterate, we've been through a tough year for a lot of different reasons. We have a lot of people who lost loved ones and family because of what's going on with COVID. And, of course, the racial unrest, as Black folks, we've been feeling it for many years, and the world has finally woken up. My scare is that the world will go back to sleep. But regardless of what it is that's going on, we have to know that we have to continue to persevere. Because there are people who need us. There are people who rely on us. There are people who need the gifts that you have. And as I said earlier, if we decide to play small and allow these barriers and mountains to stand in our way, then we'll never be able to walk in the purpose that we are created to stand in and to walk in. So, it's so important that we push forward. One of the things I say is that I had to learn to crawl through my difficulty before I could ever stand in my greatness. And we all have greatness.
Yes, sir.
We all have the ability to shine. And it's our job to do so. But we do so by standing in the difficulty, standing in the problems, and saying to ourselves, regardless of what's going on around me, I will continue to shine. And it's okay to take that break. This year's been heavy, right. So you watch those TV shows if you have to, binge watch a little bit if you have to. But at some point in time, we have to stand up again and say, I'm going to continue to go and to persevere. Create that business if you have that idea. Be that father that you want to be. Be the husband that you want to be, that spouse that you want, whatever it is. Be that person that you choose to be, and be that person unapologetically. That's who you were created to be. Make it happen.
Yes, sir. Awesome. Love it, brother. Love it, love it, love it. Brother Jermaine. That's
Jermaine. What's good? Yes.
Yes. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that.
Love you, Jermaine.
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, guys, we are going to wrap it up for this evening. This has really been very impactful. I just want to say, hats off to you, Jeff. Wonderful job.
Hats off to you.
Taking the time out of your day.
Of course.
And share with us, inspire, and encourage us all. So on behalf of the Come Up, we have Jeff Martin out of Toronto, Canada. And I am Rob Mccray for the Business Building Network. Thanking you all for joining us here this evening on the Come Up. And I want to invite you to come on out and join us next Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time for our next edition of the Come Up. God bless everybody. Have a wonderful night. Jeff, stay on with me for a couple minutes, all right? All right. God bless you all.